Morning, Kumlan and Ablak Gemara. We are up to today, the Ches Amid Aleph. So the Rami Bachama comes along and informs us the following. There's a Gemara later on. We're going to learn a Machlekes. We also had it in Gittin. If you, let's say, grab on behalf of one of the lenders, a borrower has 5 different lenders. So if you grab on behalf of one of the lenders, as a result of that, you're actually adversely affecting all the other lenders. They don't have access now to their money. Then the din is machlekes if you are kohen or not. On one hand, you're doing a good thing for one lender. On the other hand, you're harming others. So it's called a teifus lebal chayv b'makom shechav lachedim. You're grabbing for a bal chayv where you are harming others. And there's a machlekes if it's a valid kinyan or not. Even if I'm a shliach, but like the Pnei Yeshua says, like a shliach dvar avera. You're doing a shlichus, but you're hurting other people like an avera, and so on. So here the question is, if I pick up an object that belongs to no one, and I say I'm picking it up on behalf of a third party, is it valid picking up or not? Because I'm hurting the rest of the world. I'm hurting the rest of the world. Now again, the way to understand this machlekes when it comes to Metzia, between Rav and Rabbi Muhammad, is how do we understand something that is ownerless? Is the pshat that it belongs to no one, or it belongs to everyone? How does hefker work? It belongs to no one. So if it belongs to no one, how am I harming anybody? That didn't harm anybody. By the case of a Bal Chayva lender, he's owed money, and now I'm making it difficult for him to pick it up. When it comes to an object out there in the street, it belongs to nobody. So I'm not harming anybody. It has nothing to do with you. So then I could pick up a Metzia and have in mind somebody else. But if you learn that, no, everybody has ownership, the whole world belongs to everybody, unless there's a private person who owns something. So then when I'm taking it away from everybody else, I'm harming them. So then it can't work. And that's going to be Machlekes Rambam and Rava. So let's see the Gemara. We are now up to the Gemara, 7 lines at the top of the page.
Like what? If you hold that it belongs to everyone equally,
no, but
how can anybody ever claim any mitzvah?
That's the purpose of a kinyan. Since it belongs to everybody equally, when I make a kinyan, I'm taking it away from everybody and I'm making it mine. Yeah, true, but that's because not one person has it. Who's going to claim it for me? And therefore, you're allowed to. If you learn that a mitzvah belongs to nobody, so then when I make a kinyan, all I'm doing is making mine. If you learn it belongs to everybody, my kinyan is doing twofold. I'm taking it away from everybody, taking away their connection. The connection is very tenuous, very small. So the Gemara, we learn out from our Mishnah. We'll see later which part of the Mishnah. If you pick up an object and have my friend in mind, even though you might argue I'm harming everybody, I'm koina. But if you can tell me that koina, that's very interesting. If you're going to tell me that if I'm picking up something for somebody else, it doesn't work. When two people pick up a talus, I'm only going to get half. And so what happens to the other half? As far as I'm concerned, the other half is still sitting on the floor. So how did it become mine? When you make a kinyan, you have to make kinyan on the whole object. If I pick up half an object from the floor and the other half still sitting on the floor, I didn't do kinyan hagbah. I didn't do anything. I have to have a kinyan on the object. So therefore, how am I kinyan? Must be that the other person, when he picks up his half, he's having me in mind. And vice versa. When I pick up my half, I'm having him in mind. So we see clearly how when you pick up an object, you as if you have a friend your mind in kinyan. But to us is let's imagine the other half that I'm not going to get. Sitting on the ground. And this half, as far as the other person is concerned, sitting on the ground because he's not picking it up. Neither of us should be kind. You have to say, I'm a and Rashi learns we're talking about a case in the first case of the Mishnah. Each one claims the whole thing is mine, but when I'm getting half, I have to have in mind the other half for you, which everybody has trouble with. Because each person claims that the whole thing is mine, what do you mean I have the other person in mind? I'm saying kula shali. I'm saying clearly I did not have anybody else in mind. So therefore the Achrayim want to say perhaps, if I would have known that the only way that I can be kind of even half for myself is to have in mind the other half, it's tantamount to me having in mind the other half. Had I known, and that's good enough. As if I had in mind the other half should be yours. Amar Rabba says, Rav, loy. You're harming the rest of the world. You're not kind of time. You know what's going on here. So how come Migoi since he's Zoiche for himself, he's also Zoiche for half his friend. Since my half, once I'm kind of half of me, it's automatically my kinyan spreads to the rest of talos for the other person. I'll prove it to you. Teda. He tells somebody, go out and steal on my behalf. And we have a rule: you cannot be a shliach for dvar avera. I tell you, you should listen to Hashem. The gona potter, the sender is potter. Yet shutvish gonu, two people steal together. Chayav and the chayiv. My time, why the chayiv? We say migur. You cannot be a shliach, but if you're doing, if I'm involved, then I could. Big machlek is Rashi traces how to understand Pshat here. Rashi learns we're talking about shlichus. I'm doing it on your behalf. But if you tell me go ahead and steal, and you're the only one stealing, and you shliach v'avera. But if I tell you to go steal, and we'll be partners, 50-50, I'm going to direct you and tell you how to get in, how to break in, and what time you should go, and all that. But I want 50% of the share of what you steal. Then, since even though ancient v'avera, but since you had me in mind, and you are kind of for yourself as well. Therefore, it's kind of for me as well. It's a din of shlichus. That's how Rashi learns. Taisa disagrees totally. He says, "What are you talking about? It's still shlichus." Taisa learns that they both stole it together, but they both stole it together. Each one of you picked up half. But since I am zoiche for myself, my kinyan that I have spreads now throughout the entire talus. Now that I've introduced the idea of migoy hash to migoy, now that we introduced the idea of migoy, since I'm kind of for myself. Migoy is a chedish and a pekech. You have two people. Somebody who cannot make any kinyan, somebody's deaf and dumb. It's only the rabbis that said, this person is not capable of acquiring anything from the Torah, but we're going to say with the Rabbanon, he has to live a life. So because of darkish shalom, for the sake of peace, let the chedish have kinyanim. And the pekech is an ordinary person that makes a kinyan is kind of matter. What happened? They both pick up a metzia together. Now remember, each one has to pick up on behalf of the other one, but the chedish cannot really pick up on behalf of the pekech. He can barely pick up for himself. The Rabbanan made a special Shekana. But since Shekana Chedesh, since the fact is the Rabbanan said to the Chedesh, you're kind of the Rabbanan, so therefore Kana Pekech, as if he had in mind that he picked up the half for the Pekech as well.
Why is it that he shouldn't be any worse off than the Chedesh?
We'll see in a minute. Talking about the Bishleim, the Chedesh, can I understand why the Chedesh Kana, he picked up his own half, that's Dark Shalom. What about the other half sitting on the ground? Since it's a Pekech was picking it up, and the Pekech has the ability to make kinyanim, so therefore when he picked up his half, as if he picked it up on behalf of the Chedesh, is the Komag B'Leib Ben Das. An intelligent person is picking up for him. El Pekeyach, he picks up his half, but the other half sitting on the ground. Who picked up the other half of Chedesh? We made a takana to help the Chedesh out. We didn't make a takana to help out the Pekeyach. So who picked it up on behalf of the Pekeyach? But my kana. So how was he kana? Elaim, let's say as follows. Chedesh kana Pekeyach le kana. The Chedesh is kana, the Pekeyach not. The Chedesh is kana because the Pekeyach, as if he had in mind the Chedesh. Yeah, and not only that, the half that the Pekeyach picked up, as if he picked it up on behalf of the Chedesh. But the Pekech is not kind of because the half that's sitting on the ground that the Chedesh picked up, it doesn't help the Pekech. So you want to, so what, my Migoy?
The Chedesh is better off than the Pekech.
Oh, yeah. So what has to do with Migoy? Where's the Migoy here? Because Migoy, the Shnei Charashim Ba'almakon, why Taka is the Chedesh, why Taka is the Pekech pick up as if he had in mind the Chedesh? But what happened to be two Charashim? Then they both be kind of for sure because each one picks up for themselves and had in mind the other one because they're both on the same level. So since two charashim would work, so too a chedesh and a pekech. That's the migoy. Hainami Talking about Haima, what do you compare? Even though if you want to say, when I pick up and I have you in mind, you're kind of I had you in mind. Here, no, each party picks it up only had themselves in mind. I picked it up for myself. In order to pick it up for myself, I also have to have you in mind. But since you tell me the Bekech is not kind of, he's not kind of, but the person he picked up for is kind of, but you didn't even have in mind. You're not going to Alay, you're right. This is the migui. That's the migui. Since the Bekech is not kind of, neither the Chedesh. Not the Chedesh. You would think that the Chedesh, the Rabban made the kind of his half, and the Bekech picked up the other half to be good enough. The migui doesn't work. So you wonder why not? But what happened to the other migui, the two charashim? Something about why by Chedesh you made a special attack on the lawyers and the but we want to stop all the fights. Nobody should steal from them or rob them. The Chedesh says to Bekech like this guy here wasn't kind of, so he doesn't feel bad that he wasn't kind of either. He's not jealous or anything because Bekech also was not kind of. I know I can actually be kind of, so therefore that's what we do. We don't make any special attack on here, and that's the migui. The Yukad says he learned Zoyse Medis. I learned from the Mishnah. Which case now Mishnah tells him that if I pick up an object and I have you in mind, you're kind of. Where do we see that in the Mishnah? Let's go through case by case. In the very first case, two people holding a talis. Postum over here. I come a kulishli. Each one said, I did it all for myself. I had nobody in mind. And I picked up the whole thing. Nobody had anybody in mind. So how's that Baruch Muhammad learn out his din? Says the Gemara. In other words, if you're going to tell me that neither of them are made a kinyan, that means a third party can work while they're fighting it out. If each one, you're telling me that each one's the other half as if it's sitting on the ground, and if as if it's sitting on the ground, therefore I wasn't cutting my half either because I didn't make a proper kinyan. That means a third party walks over while they're fighting and just pulls the whole talus away and says, it's mine because you guys didn't make a valid kinyan. But the problem is each one says, I picked it up first and I picked up the whole thing. It wasn't like we picked up together, and therefore who's had in mind, the other half. I picked up the whole thing. So how does a third party, and the question is, who was it? How can a third party come along and take it away? So you must say you're right. The Tani, because the Mishnah sort of repeats the same case. What's the point of that? What's the Mishnah repeating the same case for? We learn from the next Mishnah that what the concept we'll say that what? And you know why we split it? Because we believe they both picked up at the same time. Right? If they both pick up at the same time, how's it work? Because each one picked it up for himself and for the other person. So we see that what you can have him have in mind the other person. And it's not the reason Rabbi Yechon said that only one person picked it up, but we don't know which one, and we want to use a deterrent that people should come along and say it's mine. So they both pick up together, and each one had to have the other person in mind. So the Gemara, well, Kimna didn't we say in the beginning that the kulishli is the Reisha Metzia Save Memcha? They're both necessary, nothing extra here. One is for a case of Metzia, one is a case of buying and selling. Elam say for the next case. One guy said the whole thing in mind, he's going to have in mind. What do you need this case for? The principle is the same. Whatever you argue, we give you half. So what do you need for? Elam Mishnah says Shmam, he's a teacher. And we believe that they both picked up at the same time, and you had each other in mind. So you want to who told you? Who told you? Maybe talking about buying and selling. That one guy said we bought it together. One guy said I bought it first. What's a chiddush? There's a chiddush involved here. We thought the guy says we both bought it together. He's a nice guy. You could have said I bought the whole thing myself, and then how much would he end up with? Half. Instead, he's being nice and he said, we bought it together. I'm only entitled to half, which means he gets a quarter. And the chiddush is, we would have thought lepotter, such an honest person. Let him go away. Let him get his. Let him be potted from making a shua. Kamash Malan comes to teach you that even though he's getting less, if he can avoid making a shua, this is a trick. The high arumi the Mishnah is going to tell you that we don't believe him because maybe there's another strategy involved here. Somebody thinks, I mean, of course, if I say I bought it myself, but you still have to swear, I'll get half. I'll say better half is mine. We go together, I'll get a quarter. Okay, I'll get less, but it costs me nothing. I'll be treated as a nice guy. 25% for nothing. I want to swear. And lying doesn't bother me. So that doesn't prove anything. In this case, two people riding an animal. The principle is the same, right? We say they're divided. Let me say the extra case. I'm going to teach you. Both bought it together. Each one has their own mind. No, but maybe come teach you that sitting on an animal is a form of a kinyan. And we would have thought maybe it's not. What kind of kinyan is that? So that's what the purpose of the mission is. Element say for the very end of the mission. They both admit we picked up together. Two witnesses say they picked up together. They then divide. We don't even have to swear. Now, what are we talking about here? They both said we bought it together. So why are they even in court? Why are they in the bezdin? Oh, and two agents we saw them bought together. What's going on here? Was there a chiddush involved there? Talking about they found it. And so what's a chiddush? Even so, what's a chiddush? They both came in as we bought together. A third party came and tried to steal the talent and say you guys weren't kind of. The chiddush is that even though I only picked up half, but and the other half as if it's sitting on the ground, when you picked up that half, as if you had me in mind, and I had you in mind when I picked up my half. That's what Rabbi Chama said the chiddush mission is. And Rabbi will tell you, no, the chiddush mission is that since I'm kind of half, if I solely went to pick up a mitzvah and I had you in mind, you would not be kind of. But because I'm kind of part for myself, so my schus, my kinyan then transfers to you as well. Says Gemara, two people riding an animal. Rabbi Yosef said, Rabbi Yehuda told me, Shamat minei de Mashmul Taki. I heard from Mashmul, I heard from him two things. I heard him a din regarding Rachel, if somebody's riding an animal, and I heard a din from him, man, if somebody's leading an animal. And he told me that chad koni v'chad lo koni. He said one of them is a valid kinyan, and one of them is not a valid kinyan. And I don't know, and I don't remember. I don't know which is the one that's a kinyan, which isn't a kinyan. Saying, well, let's analyze what's going on here. Hey, are we talking about a case just A guy bought a guy took a horse to buy or to keep, and he just sat down on it. Is that the question whether that's a Kenyan, or another guy came and took a horse? There's no dispute, and he led it. Is that the question whether the Kenyan? And you're telling me that one of them is not Kenyan? Why is that suffix? Everyone knows that mani l'chudi bikam no. The Kenyan mani is like Mashiach, right? You're leading the animal, so of course you are Kenyan. We know we live in Kedushin, the different Kenyanim. One of the Kenyanim animals, you pull it, Mashiach. So what's the suffix? Must be talking about a different case. Ella equal name it's clear. If Rabbi Yehuda said it's the name of Shmuel, he's a Kenyan called Roch, one of them works, one doesn't work. We're talking about a Kenyan solo on its own, and we know that Manik work, that's Mashiach. Then obviously Roch doesn't work. You're sitting in one place, it's not a Kenyan. What Kenyan is that? So it must be the fact that Yehuda had a suffix must be that both Kenyanim are effective. His question was what Shmuel was talking about, Roch of the Makamani. There were two people. One guy was a Rocha, one is a Manik. Each one claims his mind. Who trumps? Which of these two Kenyanim is stronger? The Rocha or the Manik? That's my question. Do we say Rocha is better? On their own, each one is a Kenyan. But do we say, now there's a Machlekes or Shainim, are we talking about it here? The question is which Kenyan is better, or which is a better proof that it's yours? Which is a better tfisa? Which is a better demonstration of ownership? Do we say Racha is better? The Hataf is better. Mamish on top of the animal, so it shows ownership. That's what the Kenyan maybe, but Chazak. Manig got it. Manig is better. The Ozlam Machmasin. You're pulling the animal, and therefore that shows more ownership. That's the question. But each on its own is a Kenyan. Rabbi Yosef says. Yehuda said, let's analyze himself. Let's analyze this. Now, we learn when it comes to Klayim, the din is you don't have any benefit from a Klayim, including, let's say, a horse and a cow pulling together, not only working together, let's say pulling a wagon together and pulling you. So what happened was, so let's say you have an ox and a donkey, a mani, the one who's leading it, Sefer the blame. He's working with the donkey and the ox, and therefore he gets climbed. But and this is attached to a wagon, and somebody's sitting in the wagon. So could we see according to Chachamim that both of them are just equally involved in what's going on here? No different than the man. The mayor, the guy's in the wagon. He's not really touching the animals, working with the animals. The guy's leading the animals, who's doing all the work, and the wagon is not. Okay. So Rameir whole seems that the sitting is not really a sign of ownership, but really using the animal. And with the opit, Shmuel came along. Shmuel said, "I want to swap the names around because the halach is usually like a chachamim. I want to say that chachamim say the sitting in the wagon is potter. So what Shmuel is really saying that a roichiv is not really, and we're comparing roichiv to sitting in a wagon, sitting on top of the animal, sitting in a thing. If you're not moving, nothing happened. Nothing happened. So we see clearly from here if Shmuel was saying that the Reichiv and Manning at the same time, who's the one that's doing the primary thing? It's the Manning, not the Reichiv, because he's saying Yeshiv is nothing, so is Reichiv nothing. With the Apich Shmuel swapped the names around, but Tony, he said, Chachamim fighting the Yeshiv Akkad. The Chachamim the ones that say that you are part of the one who's sitting in the wagon. Shvamina, Rachav l'chudi l'kadin. The Chosh Gerachim Manning. See from here, I'll go a step further. That the Reichiv actually not even, forget about the Rachav and Makam Manning. Even the Reichiv on its own, you're not doing anything. If you're standing on place, you're not doing anything. Says the Gemara, Abai says Rabbi Yosef. First of all, Azimnis Giyin, you once told us the same sugya again. Remember, good old Abai, remind Rabbi Yosef how you used to be forgetful. You once told us this whole sugya. Amrlan Nechzenan, you said, you the ones that said Nechzenan, let's sit down and analyze it. Today you're telling us that Rabbi Yehuda is the one who said it. He doesn't let his Rebbe alone. He definitely teases everything out of you. Amalei Ibra. He said to Abai, you know what? You're actually right.
He doesn't tell us that.
Yeah.
He doesn't say that.
He said, you remind me. He said, you're right. Last time I said, I said, but now I remembered it was Rabbi Yehuda who said it, and I asked him a question on it. But the kid, I remember now that he said, he's the one who said, let's compare it to climb. And then I asked a question. The Amri said to him, hey, you want to say, just like sitting there in the wagon, in the back. Is not considered as if anything, and you want to say sitting atop of the animal is the same thing. Yoshev, I can argue like Yoshev is not holding on to the reins or anything else. He's sitting in the wagon. He's not doing anything. He's not even attached. I mean, he's not doing anything with the animals. But he's seeing an animal, even though you're not moving, but at least you're holding on to the reins. Is much more. So just because Yeshiv is not considered like you're involved with the animals, but L'chayda Reichiv is involved with the animals. So what are you comparing? That's what I asked my Rabbi Yehuda, my Rebbe. V'amali, and he told me, this is what he answered me. Now so come back to me, he said, that Rabu Shmuel and Tavai, they both say, if you're standing in one place and you're holding on the reins, when is a manik, for example, you're moving the animal, you're holding on the reins and you're taking the animal and you're going for a walk. So that's Meshicha. But here's holding the reins and sitting in one place, what kinyan is that? It's not a kinyan. Now we know kinyan Masira is a kinyan. In fact, we had more kedushin in the Chavav. It was all about kinyan Masira. We know that kinyan Masira, which means the handing over of the reins from the owner to the buyer, is considered a kinyan. It doesn't work in a simta, but it works in other places. But the difference is that they're talking about a vendor is handing you over the reins. Over here, we're talking about you found an object. There's nobody handing it to you, as Gemara will explain. Then Masira doesn't work. Masira is the transfer from the owner to the buyer. Here, there's no owner giving it to the buyer, so Masira is not a kinyan. Not exactly. We'll see in a minute. Exactly what Gemara says. Others say, Abai asked not that Yosef said, I remembered I asked this question. Abai said, hey, Yosef says not holding on the reins. Idi told me, we learned if you're buying something from somebody else and he gives you over the reins, it's a kinyan. He's giving up. But Metzia, when he's like, yeah, like honey, but when it comes to no owner or by a ger, he dies. Everything now is ownerless. You're not claiming Metzia. My lusha Metzia, what kind of word is it? Idi told me, somebody gives over something to somebody else. So you might have Bishleim, now more explains. Bishleim was a chavi for gave it. El Metzia, again, man, come on, who gave it to you to be kind of? Meisel asked a question and it said, Mashiach is only if you move. So if this guy is sitting, right now we're understanding what's Reichib. You're sitting on an animal and you not moved. And the fact that I'm sitting is that sign of ownership. So Rabbi Yehuda says that no. Rabbi Yehuda said that Shmuel told me that Reichib just sitting in one place is not a kinyan. They might have a problem with that. Because what do you know on Mishnah? Mishnah may say on Mishnah to be riding on an animal, just riding or sitting. That right to understand they're both sitting on an animal. And we say divide with the shua. What do we divide? You just said the Rabbanon hold us sitting in a wagon, which you said right the same thing. Is nothing meaningless. A third guy can come along, push them off the animal, and take it because nobody owns it. All they're doing is sitting. Mani, if you can tell me that the Mishnah's Mayor holds that's sitting in a wagon by climb, so what is the chiddush by Reichiv? A wagon is even more distant than Reichiv. At least the Reichiv is sitting on top of the animal. Wagon is sitting back, hitched to the back of the animal. You need to tell me. The Rabbanan is saying we argue when it comes to climb sitting in the wagon or in the chariot, but when it comes to sitting on top of the animal, we believe it's a kinyan. Not like Rabbi Yishmael. Saying, well, no, Hochamai Skinnen. The Gemara now introduces a new thing. Reichiv in our Mishnah is not the Reichiv that you normally think. Sitting in one place is not a kinyan. Our Mishnah is talking about Memanig Baraglo. You're sitting on an animal and give a little kick in the back, and it makes the animal move a little bit. What's the whole idea of Manig? Manig leading the animal is you walking. Reichiv, you're sitting on top of the animal and you're walking. So what's the difference where you are when you're making the animal walk? Today, Gavlin Manig, there are two kinds of Manig. And that is that Maud, I would have thought Rochav Adif. I would have thought that in this case, since you kicked the animal, you made the animal move, you're better off than the guy standing on the ground. The guy standing on the ground, all you're doing is holding on the reins and pulling the animal. Here, you're on top of the animal and you're making the animal move. When you see that, the way many are trying to learn, but I'm talking about the kinyan. Does the kinyan of the Reichiv cancel the kinyan man? I'm talking about when we standing in front of a court case, there's a dispute, and you look at these two. Who do you think is the owner? What's sitting on top of the animal and making it move, or the guy who's on the bottom grabbed hold of the reins and he's pulling it? Who do you think the owner is? Of course, the guy sitting on top. That's what you think. Kamash Malon, the Mishnah will tell you that no, they're both equal. That's the Chiddush Mishnah. Two people pulling a camel. Now, generally, how are you kind of a camel? Camel generally kind of is by pulling it, and a donkey by just leading it. So two people were doing the same thing. They were pulling a camel, or a manhigim b'chamar, or they were leading a donkey, which is a normal way. Or one guy did the normal way, and one guy did the abnormal way. The din is the midas kind. In this way, they are kind. What do you mean this way you are kind, and not which way? We'll see tomorrow, Gemara. Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Yehuda says, no, you got to do the right way. The proper kinyan for a camel is pulling it, and the proper kinyan for a donkey, how do people, they lead? You stand in front, and the donkey follows you. The donkey knows his owner and follows him. Tony me is, what does he clear from here? The Chachamim say, the echad manig. It says one guy was Moshe, pulling the animal, and one guy was manig, holding the reins and leading. Doesn't mention a word about riding. It seems from here, Moshe manig in Avarei. It seems that riding is not a form of a kinyan. You just said that riding is a kinyan. It's not a kinyan. Say, who I didn't feel it. He says, what? Even riding is a kinyan. In fact, it's for sure it's a kinyan. It's better because you're making the animal move. You're making the animal move, and you are sitting at the top. The Chiddush and Mishnah is Moshe Chamanig La Fukim and Yehuda said only the person is Moshe by a camel. If you're manning a camel, it doesn't work. Says Tanakama, no. Even though one guy is Moshe, which is the proper kinyan, and one guy is manning, it's still they divided. The Amar Achlei Mashiach V'Gamol and Hagar Chamay. Yehuda insists that only one kinyan works here, one kinyan works commercial. Well, definitely even the opposite, the other way is kind. So why don't you just mix them together and jumble them together and say Shnayim Shahayim Moshe? If two people were, the Tanakama just said, if two people were drawing it, or manhiga, pulling it or leading it, bein begamel, bein bechamor, easy. So you know why? Because ikat tzad chad loy kon. There's one angle that's not koina. In other words, one of them is not koina. Either manig by a gomel or meshicha b'chamar, because it's so out of the ordinary that it's not a kinyan. The only thing is I don't know which one. One opinion says meshicha b'chamar, pulling. Nobody pulls donkeys because the donkey is very stubborn and won't move. Or han haga b'gomel. Nobody just stands in front of a camel with the rein leading it because the gomel won't follow. These the ma'isim sefer. Others ask for the same conclusion, which we'll finish. The miduzu kana. The Tanakh said this is the only way. What do you mean only way? It seems like the miduzu kana lemuti might exclude lemute rachov, but not if you're sitting at the top of the animal. The Gemara, no. Lemute ifcha. To remind, if you turn the reverse, what do you mean reversed it? You just said no. The Tanakhama said you could reverse it, but one of them reverse it is all right, and one of them is not all right. We're not sure. One side isn't. Trying to pull a donkey doesn't work. Leading at the camel. We'll stop here and continue tomorrow. Have a good day.